So what do you think it is that makes people ready for change? Of what point is, you've all obviously made some changes in your life. At what point did you make that decision to go ahead and do something that you might not fully be feeling prepared for, or that you might be like a little bit afraid of, or you don't know the circumstance? Any incident come up for anybody as far as a time when you have made a change, and like what kind of sparked that, or what the catalyst was? That's something else we're going to look at in this series, is seeing where we have been successful and how we achieve that success. And I don't care if it's baking a batch of cookies and not burning the bottom, or tying your shoe, whatever. You've been successful at something, and there's a certain formula that was in place to get you to that success. So we're going to take a look at that too. Definitely. Any idea when people make those changes?
No.
No?
No, I know I just feel good
Yeah.
when I'm doing it, and I want to do it, but I don't know.
Well, you hit on something really, really key. You said it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good to make those changes. When your pain, fear, discomfort, anxiety level, whatever it is equal to your fear of what could happen or possibly happen, or the fear of the unknown, or your fear of not being perfect, which is a big reason why a lot of people procrastinate. When your pain and discomfort in your life as you know it equals the possible pain and discomfort of actually making a change, that's when you do it. That's what is the tipping point. A lot of people talk about the tipping point. That's what pushes people over the edge, so to speak. You're going to give one way or the other. Some people might go into a breakdown mode, but usually that's the catalyst to get you to move. When you are finally so sick and tired of your situation, then you'll do whatever it takes to get yourself out of it. And you'll risk everything, and you'll lay it all on the line. So for myself, I was so sick and tired of not knowing. Like, it was like a control thing almost for me. It was like, how can this thing have control over me, and I have no power over it? And it makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I was sick and tired of the back and forth. I was tired of working so hard to get to a goal, feeling amazing and on top of the world, only to have it slip from my fingers just a few weeks later as it started to slide back the other way again. And I was tired of that devastation. I was tired of feeling like a loser. I was tired of feeling like a failure. I was tired of just that suffering that went along with it. And I guess I am pretty determined when it comes to some things. I mean, that was one thing that determination just came out. That productive anger is what I call it. I don't know if I coined that or if I got that from somebody, but productive anger, where you're so just sick and tired and mad and frustrated that you'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you don't stay in that state. That's what I call productive anger. And now I laugh at that. Now I've gotten to a point of being so aware of my emotions that I just don't take them so seriously anymore. So I get so angry, and I can't fool myself anymore. Because when you take the blinders off and you start being real, like real, honest with yourself. Well, I started being really honest with myself and took the blinders off. I couldn't buy all my stories. I couldn't buy all my excuses. I couldn't buy all my rationale anymore. I was just kind of just like, oh, it's so ridiculous that I did this to myself. And so now I laugh at it, and I take that productive anger and I put it to use. And I use that to fire me to making that change. So yeah, when your pains and your fears and your discomfort, and basically when you're willing to face worst case scenario, that's part of what we'll be doing in the workshop series as well, is getting to your bottom line. What is the worst case scenario? If you have the fear of the unknown, then what is the worst possible scenario that could come out of this? And you might even look at the worst case scenario for staying where you're at too. What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst case scenario if I carry extra 50, 60, 75 pounds with me? What's the worst case scenario in that? Worst case scenario for me is that I'll be passing this struggle along to my kids whenever I have kids. Worst case scenario is that my kids, whenever they're in their 30s, are not going to be happy with themselves. And they're going to be having conversations with people like I'm having conversations with people, because they got modeled a behavior and they don't understand it themselves. That was my catalyst. That was the reason that I decided to change. I was tired of the struggle for myself, but for some reason, just having the struggle for myself wasn't a good enough reason. I realize now, I wasn't worth it to myself then to do what it took, to go the distance, to be the one who stuck to it and stayed and was disciplined. But when I thought about my kids, and I thought about my future kids, and I thought about bringing them up, and I thought about them watching me struggle, watching me not like my reflection in the mirror, watching me not being happy with myself, even though, because I work with a lot of moms, and I know this to be true, even though you think you're smiling in their face and they don't see your struggle and your pain, kids are like dogs. They can read energy. They can pick up on it. They sense it. I believe this to be true anyway. And if you think that they don't know what's going on, they absolutely know what's going on.